Hello everyone, and welcome for this video on the Simple Object Manager. This video will explain you this project, what is the Simple Object Manager that I am building, and in order to discover for me that this object has any value for anyone, I want to present it with the capability of that element is and what it's trying to solve, all of that, and then you can actually have a look into this yourself if you want and give me feedbacks if you want something like this to happen. It's very close and related to other projects that are going around, but we'll come to that in a few minutes. So as you can see, this simple object manager is part of my own repo. I'm usually not doing things in JavaScript, but this repo is purely JavaScript. So anyone with JavaScript knowledge can actually dig into more detail into that, especially as I provide a minified and unminified version of the library. And this library has the main goal to help you manage data abstraction objects from your website or during your implementation. At the origin of this, I wanted to call it more like a Xtm object manager because it was supposed, or it's the main goal that I have in mind is to actually handle Xtm, but following some feedback I received, and it's more, it could have a broader use. Then I decided to rename it to Simple Object Manager, and yeah, you understand why very soon. There are some documentation on the methods and the origin of it. Also a FAQ if you want to look into some of this. So some questions, some legitimate question that I will answer during this video as well. Then there is this link for the JavaScript version. My goal, if this project goes forward, I want to have a JavaScript, so you can actually a JavaScript library you can actually load on your website if needed, or a source code for launch extension, but your own launch extension. I don't want to make a launch extension and make it available because this is not project that I have on any client or big company that I have. So I have only a sandbox. And if my sandbox of launch is actually deprecated, I don't know what's going to happen to the extension. So what I will provide is the whole extension, the source, and then you can actually upload it on your own enterprise and actually tweak it. Everything is open source. Yeah, but I think it would be like this. I don't know if you can see, but we will see. We'll look here at the size. I try to make the library quite small in order for you to be able to load that library on your website without impacting your performance, more or less. Some question that you may have about that is that what does that do to me, obviously, and I will explain that in a second. And the first thing I want to do is to load what Xtm schema looks like. And if you go to my data analyst website, you see that I have an Xtm schema defined for IP Web SDK. And this Xtm schema is used in IP Web SDK in order to actually see or create a related object for IP ingestion process. I know that there are many things coming that will simplify that, but at the moment, what I'm feeling is that there is no way for you to handle that easily. So you would need to create either an XDM representation of your schema through the AP Web SDK data elements, but that's not easy because you will need to have that field related to other data elements that are loading it. So it's not that easy. Or you will need to manage that yourself. And the object could be, in my case, it's quite easy object because it's only a related field, but still sometimes you can have a data layer and this data layer is not consistent and you need to manipulate it, and it's not that easy to manipulate the object and the nested object within that thing. So I try to simplify all of this, so it's come from my own view on how you should do code, or you should Yeah, you should help other people that don't have the luxury to have more advanced JavaScript developers to implement things. The same I did for my Python library, and now I'm doing it for JavaScript implementation because I believe that managing your object is not easy. Your data abstraction object, so this is representing your data on your website, and yeah, and you should, or you can actually use help. I would believe so. So. Uh, why you should use that? Actually, I'm thinking that you should not. Ideally, you should use the data layer. So either event-driven data layer or normal data layer. The best would be the event-driven data layer. I think it's more related to how website works now. But sometimes you do not have the budget to change your data layer. There are some cool extensions that are available in launch to realize that. There are some that I don't remember. But there is a data layer manager. There is the ACDL extension that I participate actually to build, and yeah, this path should be the main path for you to actually load the data on your website. As I said, you may not have actually the resource, but also the data that you are representing in your data layer may not be the correct one or the correct representation for Xtm. In the future, I would believe there will be some kind of processing rules that will help you change the way that the elements are being mapped to your Xtm schema. But even though sometimes there are operations that are only available or that can only be changed client side, so some destruction or some operation on arrays level and so on. And this is getting very hard. And I hope you will understand how easy it will be with this simple object manager. So I created this page that is actually loading. Let me reload that. And let me get rid of the. I would like to get it rid of this. So you see that this is the library. It's 2.7 kilobyte. And what I wanted to get rid of is actually the autocomplete from history, because I want to start from scratch here with you. So it's quite lightweight. I try to stay that way like this, and I will try to actually improve that. I believe it's possible. At the moment, I have some console log for debugging and all of this, because let's imagine this is alpha in terms of development at the moment. But you'll see it's normally work quite good, and I would like to have any feedback regarding that. Okay, let's get it started. So you can start this by creating a sum object. So which is a simple object manager. So this one you can see has data into it. And it has also a default value. We'll come to that a bit later. So this is going to be your object. And by default, you can assign values to it. So let's say I want to have foo, up, bar, and I'm doing a comma, not a semicolon. And now you can see that I created a new path. This will always go away. I mean, at the end of the alpha beta, but you're creating a new path and it's foobar. Okay, so far easy, but the good thing of it is that it can actually create nested array functions or nested object. And by that, you can assign, let's take a foo again, but this will be foo1, foo2, foo3. And this takes the dot notation, and I will assign bar to it. Oh, sorry again. And you can see that I'm creating, there is this the foo, but there is this foo1, foo2, and foo3. We can actually get that through the sum data. You get all of this information automatically, or you can get that directly, or you can get, of course, only a part of it. So foo will give me bar, foo1 with me foo2 and all of this. Yeah, I mean you get the idea on how it works. You can assign a value, but you can also assign more complex element. So let's say I want to assign to sorry, foo1 my array. I want to assign some object which is going to be first name, and of course this is going to be Julian. And you can see now that I have created inside the foo1 my array with a first name Julian. And you can access that easily through the get foo1 my array. So this could give me my array directly. Right, I want to have directly the elements, so I can say, okay, give me the 0 element, and it still works with the dot notation. Or if in case you have multiple one and you want the last one, I want the last one. Let's see something more fancy. Imagine you want to assign a new object to that array. Then you can directly say, okay, foo1 my array dot 3, let's say, and this will be first name Gabriella. And this will automatically create in your foo1 array a second object, and you can see that in case you are selecting an element of your array that is not present and is you have only one element and you request to send it to the fourth element because array starts at 0, so it's a fourth element. Automatically what it does, it creates a new element that is going to contain your object directly as the last element. So it automatically takes the last. The assumption here is that it actually goes into the last element. You messed up the element. You can obviously rewrite the element. So now I want to first name actually is Gabby. So now if I'm actually getting there, my first name has been replaced. But that can, I mean, if I only want to do that, I don't want to rewrite the whole object. I just want to say first name. And this is with the capital J. And now you see that I replaced this element. So you don't need, you can actually assign through dot elements, which I think make it like easy. So I think that simplify a lot your build up of your object. That also, of course, is being, you can access that element. So if I'm doing get, I get Gabby now. And yeah, and that should help you. But the good thing is that if you ask for first names, you get undefined. Don't get an error. It's automatically unlink the error for you, so you don't get. And you could replace that if you follow up. So in the beginning, you could replace that with a default value. So I can say my default value is no one, just to say something. And now if I'm actually looking for my first names, there is no one being returned. So you can actually, work around that. You can also obviously remove a path, and this works in two ways. So if I'm actually asking to remove the bar here, I can actually say remove, foo. And you can see now, let's access to the data. foo has been removed completely. If you want to use or you want to change it to empty string for some reason, that is possible, but then you need to use assign. The good thing also is that if you pass a path that is containing an object, then automatically it will delete the whole object. So imagine I want to remove foo3 and bar. I need to actually remove the foo2. So I will automatically pass that. So let's say remove foo1, foo2. And because it will detect that foo2 is an object, foo2, sorry, then it will assume that you don't want to replace that with empty or you don't want to replace that with undefined. You will remove the whole object below. So, I mean, foo3 by undefined. So if I'm doing this, I have now foo1 and nothing below. So you can reassign something to foo2 and you can actually do now foo1, foo2. And you can see that foo2, as you didn't pass anything, is automatically creating an empty object here. Obviously, yeah, you can remove foo1, my array 1. And you can see now my array, as I remove the first element, which this one is the 0, you can see, then I remove it. And that's, I think, is quite helpful. Obviously, you can restart from scratch. And you can say, OK, I want to clear. And now it's starting from scratch. And you can start new sum. You can start by passing some foo bar, automatically being created. So here in that case, it doesn't really help you because it's not that easy. It's not that hard to actually do that. But in case you have an object and you want to start from it, you can do that. And you can also merge it. Foo2, I don't know, baz in that case. And you see that is being automatically merged with that. You can directly pass an object as assign. So in that case, let's pass test value. And automatically it will merge that object at the root of your sum object. But that's about it. I hope that could be helpful. I can see a lot of application because I'm working with many clients and I feel that many implementation team have hard time to deal with the object abstraction and how you can modify and play with object. And I would be very curious to know if you feel that there is the same approach or the same challenge for your team on your website and if that can be useful. Obviously, any participation on that project is welcome. You can drop me a message, Twitter, on the comment of the blog post that I'm going to post or on the comment of that video, and I will try to enter that and we can improve it or it's already fine like this. Let us know, let me know, and then I will work on this depending on the request that I get from here. Okay, I hope you had fun. I hope it will be helpful. Let me know in the comment. Bye.